Hey guys, I just heard another Christian talking about like how the United States is Babylon and everything like that. And like the United States actually is Babylon, but Babylon's actually not bad. And in the Bible, it does talk about in the Revelation, which, the Bible is truth mixed with lies to make the lies stronger. So if you actually read Genesis 11, it doesn't say that the humans were doing anything bad. It says they were all united politically. And actually in the King James Version, it says politically. And they were building a city. And God did not like that they were building a city. God, the Christian God that all the Christians worship every Sunday, and the Catholics too, God said, if they can do this with their common unity, what else can they accomplish? Pretty much saying, like, what else can they do? If they can do this, they can do a lot more. Like, what else are they going to be able to do? And he says, let us go down and confuse their language. So he goes down and confuses it, and he says, let us. It says plural. So I've heard some other guys saying that, like, the Bible's actually, the God of the Bible, there were gods. They try and say it's a one God, but it was actually gods. So what that means is that God doesn't want us to be successful. The Christian God does not want us to be successful. Probably none of these gods do, right? It's easy for me to talk about the Christian God because I was a Christian for 30 years. So when you hear these people say this, they don't know what they're talking about. They're not actually about us advancing. They're kind of just about pushing their own like agendas. This was actually Candace Owens that I was listening to, which I like her, but it's just like the Christian side of it. It's just kind of like there's a lot of people I like. And it comes back to like, if there's someone who is like an alcoholic, right? Or like maybe they're smoking a ton of weed or they're doing some kind of drug, right? Like you still love the person, but you don't have to love what they do. Like they're just doing their addiction. And remember, Christians are addicted to the story of the Christianity story. That means that they get to go to heaven and so that whenever they die, because remember, humans, we don't know what happens when we die. So they've told this story that gives them some kind of peace, right? That they know what happens when they die. Like we could die and go on some roller coaster and just get reborn right again. We don't know. So when you look at the United States, we have all people from Asia, Africa, Europe, South America, all these people speaking one language. And look at how fast we have advanced. Look what a superpower we became. Look how quick when human beings come together, right? And freedom, right? And collaboration. When human beings unite, look what happens. So now what we're seeing, so this is why, like whenever people say, oh, I'm not political, I'm like, I'm either, I don't know if there's another word for it, but it's like for me, I had to pay an extra $3,100 in taxes last year, or this year. And when I hired a consultant or whatever, I was like, I just want to make sure I'm doing this right or whatever. And they said, yeah, it was Biden's tax bill or whatever. I was just like for what? Like for, I just know we sent $175 billion so far to Ukraine. And I don't really know all the ins and outs. I've heard people say that guy over there, I forget his name, like he's just pocketing the money and stuff like that. They're just laundering it or whatever. And I'm not sure if that's true or not. I don't really know the whole story. It's pretty sad. A lot of people have died over there. But I just wanted to share that about Babylon. Like we're not bad. The United States is not bad. Like we're making mistakes. When you give people freedom, you're gonna have bad people and you're gonna have good people or whatever you want to call it, right? People doing some raunchy stuff, but like we're actually really good, and I think this country's worth fighting for. And that doesn't mean necessarily like, I don't say that in like physical violence. I think when I say like fighting, it means like, for me, it means having these conversations. It means that honestly, like where we're at, like really, I don't think violence would propel us forward at this point. Like we're at a point now where we got to talk about stuff and we got to start coming clean on stuff. And we got to acknowledge, in my opinion, like we talk about like Santa Claus, and Santa Claus is used to control children to make them behave better. And when you look at Christianity, it's the same thing. It's meant to kind of like tie up someone, kind of meant to like limit them. Like I have a song I'm writing right now. It's called Elephant Tied with a String. And what they would do to these elephants is in the circus, when they're little babies, they tie them up with a rope and they can't break the rope. And then they grow up and they're super huge elephants. They tie them up with the same rope and they think they can't break it. So they're able to just like put the elephant wherever they want. Like they break the thing's brain. And that's kind of what this is, in my opinion. It's kind of like this thing where it's like, oh, you know, if you act that way, Santa's not going to bring you anything. And then that's kind of how Christians act too. It's like, oh, if you act that way, God's not going to bless you. Oh, if you don't repent of those sins. And does the child need to behave better? Yes. Does the human need to keep doing, like, if they're doing some stuff that's not good for them, if they're being like unkind to people, if they're being like whatever they're doing in their life, like not, you know, not showing up to work, not paying their bills, disrespecting their parents or disrespecting their friends or whatever, their community. Like, yeah, if they're doing stuff like that and like stealing, whatever, like, yeah, like they need to clean that act up, but you shouldn't use fear. Like you need to teach the person like why, you know, and that's the part that I'm kind of running into, because like there's not really anyone to show me this. Like I don't really see, like, you know, there's so much like hate I see in this country, like going back and forth, and there's not really like a way, no one's really explaining like a way, like everyone's just kind of pitching their little side. And once you come to their side, then it's like, okay, like now what do we do? Like, why can't we talk about these individual subjects? So anyway, that was my main point. The United States is Babylon. Babylon is good. The idea of Babylon is human beings coming together from many different areas, many different parts of the world, all speaking one language and collaborating together. Like that's what it is. And I know we got some advancement in World War II because we brought over some German scientists, but it wasn't America that we invented cars and airplanes. We've made advances in medical technology and just kind of the way the set. I know we are kind of. There's some corruption here. The enemy is within the gates. Like the enemy of this country is it's all like psychological warfare right now. If you can't see that, man, like what we're seeing on TV, like this stuff, it's kind of like I was talking to someone else and they're like, it's kind of like a stage. Like, and I've said this before, I've said Republicans and Democrats are the same thing. They contend in the eyes of the public to create the illusion of free choice. Our presidents are chosen for us, right? And I really do believe that. I think it's kind of like they give you the illusion of free choice, right? So I don't know. I think there's a lot more potential in this world. There's a lot more potential for how we could live our lives. We could even probably have extended lives available to us. Like we could have like higher levels of technology and energy and all kinds of things, but we're kind of stuck here thinking like this is all there is. And that's kind of what I think religion does. It kind of like limits us. We're not like demanding better. We're not saying we deserve better. When I talk to Christians about this kind of stuff, the feedback I get is God's above us and he gets to do whatever he wants. Like when I bring up the story of Abraham, I'm like, God like literally told the dude to sacrifice his son just to see if he was loyal to him. Like that's pretty whack. Like you got to like really wrap your head around that and like really think about that. Like a disembodied voice told a guy to sacrifice his child with a knife and then burn the body as a sacrifice. And then he just stops him at the last second. Oh, I just wanted to make sure you're loyal to me. And there was another guy in Judges who actually did sacrifice his daughter to God. And they defend that kind of stuff, right? And of course, there's, you know, God killing all the firstborn in Egypt and stuff like that just to reveal his glory. He forced the Pharaoh, you know, to do that, to not let the Israelites go. And then he punishes them for his actions that were not his free will. So that's pretty evil. That's a pretty arrogant character, if you ask me, who would do that. So this is kind of what's in our country. It's like we have good people that are addicted to something that's actually like really evil. But I'm just trying to like hold the line and trying to be the best I can be. I know that the world could be a way better place if we didn't have this religion and if people weren't doing stuff based off that religion. They're just doing things based off, I love humanity, I love my family, I love myself, I love my friends. I say human is God and God is human is what I say. That's one of my sayings. So anyway, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you in the next video.